what's your favorite ASMR triggers? Send me down. Okay, that was cringy. That was pretty freaking cringy. I apologize. Hello, everybody. How's it going? I hope you're all doing very, very well today or tonight, whatever it is, whatever time it is in your area. I hope you're doing great. Yeah, I literally just got back from watching Scream 2022 or Scream 5. I'm gonna refer to it as Scream 5 to a whole video if I reference it, but man, this is gonna be a very big spoiler video. Obviously, by judging by the title of the video, but one more time, I'm gonna give a disclaimer. If you guys don't want spoilers or you haven't seen the movie, first of all, if you haven't seen the movie but you plan on seeing it, don't watch this video. Don't watch spoilers, please. Please, for the love of God, don't watch spoilers. Watch the movie without knowing anything about it. Scream is one of those movies where, like, it's so much more enhanced when you don't know who the killer is. You don't know the incentive. You don't know the motive. You don't know because you're constantly just guessing throughout the whole entire thing, you know. Obviously, any movie can be like that, but for Scream, it's a whodunit. It's a constant guessing game of who the actual killer or killers are. So, if you haven't seen it yet, you might not see it soon in theaters. Just click off this video, check it out next time, and do whatever. But with that being said, let's just get right into it. In 3, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. They killed my man Dewey. They killed my man Dewey, man. You know, I'm not like upset or anything, but like, because I was 100% expecting a legacy character, whether it be Gail, Cindy, or Dewey to die. I knew it wasn't going to be Cindy, because I just didn't expect him to kill that final girl off, you know, like the final girl, but I was really expecting Gail to die. You know, a lot of people, I watched a lot of spoiler-free reviews leading up to the movie, and people were like, yeah, you know, Dewey has a big part in this movie, like, bigger than any other ones, and like, he's more involved. So I was like, oh shoot, maybe he'll like be that guy to kind of take over the mantle of Sidney throughout the whole movie. Like, he'll be the consistent antagonist for this newer generation of characters. Yeah and no. I mean, he definitely was for a bit, up until he got absolutely shish kebabbed. They did him dirty, bro. They did him dirty. Yeah, it was just, I think I'll kind of just do what I did with my Spider-Man No Way Home review and just kind of go chronological order of like brief summary of what happened, I guess, and just my opinions on it. So obviously Scream is notorious for their opening scenes. You know, Casey Becker in the original, you know, kind of set the tone for the rest of the movies, the kills. I'm not gonna list all the original opening scenes, but Scream 4 was a little weird. With the stab movie fake outs. I've watched that movie probably like 5 or 6 times, and every time I have different opinions on what I feel about it. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's mad funny. Like, yeah, it's like, it's just making fun of itself. Like, yeah, it's a movie inside a movie. Like, the stab thing's kind of cool, but the fake outs are awesome. Like, it's mad funny, because if you watch it the first time, you don't know what the hell is actually real. Then other times I'm just like, oh my god, this is so stupid. like just get to the actual movie already. This one was different. So it starts out with one of the main characters, Taro, and she is home alone. And basically she just gets she's texting her friend Amber, and she gets a phone call on her landline. Which, who the hell has a landline in 2022? Like, you know, Scream's always been like up with the latest technology for Scream, for Ghostface, and like innovations and whatnot, but they still have landlines. I was like, okay, it's a little weird. But I didn't nitpick the movie. I've only watched it once, so I don't nitpick things on the first viewing. I usually wait till the second or third to kind of really dissect the movie. I try to, but so yeah, she gets a call from Ghostface, and we all know it's Ghostface because we know Ghostface's voice, but obviously she doesn't. But it's weird because Ghostface just starts having like an ordinary conversation with, I think it's Jenny Ortega, is that her name? Or Jenna Ortega, the character, the real actress is. I'm just gonna call them Tara by the character's name. So she starts having a conversation. He starts having a conversation with Tara, and he's like, just small talk. And eventually, he brings up, like, they start discussing the fact that Tara's into horror movies, because like I'm not gonna get into details of every detail. This will be a 4-hour video if I do that. But he mentions, oh, you like horror movies, and it's cool because Ghostface, the meta-ness of Scream has always been apparent. It's very self-aware that it's kind of in a horror movie without directly saying. Well, sometimes it actually does say we're in a horror movie. Like Randy's character will always say like, "Oh, you have these rules to survive a horror movie." Like, but it's very, very meta. Obviously, it's always been old school horror movie references scattered throughout the movies. Man, this time it mentions the Babadook. It mentions Hereditary, Midsommar. I don't think it mentioned Us or Get Out, but it mentioned Jordan Peele in particular. It was really cool, man. The Witch, it was really cool. Just, hearing a newer generation of characters talk about modern day horror movies and their interpretation and how they enjoy it and stuff like that. It's very refreshing. That's not to say that other horror movies and franchises weren't shouted out throughout the way, because what I remember is Halloween was mentioned, Psycho was mentioned, Black Christmas, and originally in the remakes. What else was mentioned? Friday the 13th was mentioned. Definitely mentioned. Nightmare on Elm Street was definitely mentioned. So like it definitely had a lot of homages to previous and current horror franchises. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Ghostface ends up just starts attacking Tara inside of her house, and I don't know how the hell Tara's alive throughout the whole movie. Just to be frank with you, I counted like 6 or 7 times she got stabbed. Bro, one of them she got stabbed in the goddamn hand. It was freaking brutal. It was absolutely brutal. They're not the first movie to do that. I even think Scream 4 actually stabbed someone through the hand, if I'm not mistaken. But it was brutal. Yeah, so basically, she gets messed up by Ghostface, and it makes it seem like she's dead. It leads up to, it kind of tells you that she's dead without telling you. So then it cuts over to this is cool because in Scream movies, it's always the opening scene. It's always not connected. Well, it's always connected, but it's never Sidney Prescott. It's never the main protagonist of the movie. The second scene is always showing what Sidney's doing. But in this one, opposed to showing Sidney right away after the opening scene, it shows Tara's sister, Sam. So right away, I realized, like, in the movie, okay, this isn't gonna be cause everyone was like assuming this was gonna be a movie where it was like they're gonna pass the torch over to the new generation. But I was like, okay, maybe. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, so Sam is the actual the new final girl. That's just how it's gonna be. And I'm totally cool with that. But so he goes over to Sam, and basically she gets a phone call from Judy Hicks' son, who was the sheriff or one of the deputies in Scream 4, the blonde woman. And I never explained how she had a son, but it was what's his name, Dylan Minnette, the kid from 13 Reasons Why. I absolutely love him as a character, as an actor. Good character too, I guess. But I never explained like where he was during the Scream 4. I don't think, but that's okay. So yeah, Wes, who's Dylan, calls Sam. Is like, hey, like something happened with Tara. You gotta come here. Then it kind of tells you, like, okay, Tara's alive still. So she's there in a different town at a job with her boyfriend Richie, played by Jack Wayne. And basically they drive back to Woodsboro, and they go to the hospital. And they see Tara, and a bunch of Tara's friends are there. What are their names? You have Wes, who's there. Amber's who is there. Chad is there. He's a twin, I think. Is it Mindy? I think it's Mindy or Mandy, who is Chad's sister. And their uncle. Okay, Chad and Mindy or Mandy. I gotta look up her name real quick. Hold on. I don't know if it's Mindy or Mandy. Give me 1 sec. But anyways, their uncle is actually Randy from the original Scream movies, which is really cool. Okay, it's Mindy. So yeah, Mindy and Chad. I'm so sorry about that loud noise. I'm recording on a glass table, and just threw my phone down without even thinking. So yeah, basically, they're all in the hospital, and all the friends are there. Okay, spoiler alert. This is all spoilers, but this is the exact scene where I realized who one of the first killers were. So Amber who's friends with Tara, and I didn't even put my phone on silent. Oh my god, I was just too excited for this movie. For this review, I didn't even prepare. So Amber's like, okay, everybody get out. Like, let's leave her alone. And she was just like, I was like, why? Like, I don't understand why you'd want everybody to just get out. Like, your friend. I mean, I got it. I understand, but I was like, that's a weird thing to just randomly say. I don't know. And then she starts talking to Tara, and she's like, hey, do you have your inhaler and stuff like that? And I was like, okay, you're suspect number one. It was just like something I just felt. So I leaned over to my brother, and I was like, hey, she's one of the killers. And he's like, oh, you think? I'm like, no, I know. Like, she's one of the killers. Just remember this for later on in the movie, dude. And he's like, okay. So, yeah, it's kind of just a boring scene. And oh, it's actually not boring. I'm sorry. It's actually really not boring. It's revealed that, what the hell is her name? Not Tara, not Amber. What the hell is her name? I've been saying it this whole time. Sam, I'm sorry. It's revealed that Sam is actually the child of Billy Loomis. So I'm not mad at that. I think it's kind of cool. It actually makes sense. The original Scream, if you guys remember, Sydney was always like, oh, she doesn't want to have sex because of just whatever was happening. So it kind of made sense that Billy would just kind of cheat on her and have sex behind her back. Just that made sense to me a little bit. But yeah, it's just explained that she found out when she was a kid and it ruined the whole family structure of her household. Her dad left, Tara's real dad, and Sam's fake dad left, and all that. She moved away, so they weren't really close. And yeah, basically, so that's pretty weird. One thing I really didn't like is there's there's a few cameos from Billy Loomis's original actor, and they kind of de-age him a little bit in that makeup, and it adds a supernatural aspect to Scream that I don't think needs to be there. I did not like it in Scream 3 when they brought Maureen Prescott's Sydney's mom back. I hated that. I thought it was really stupid. I really didn't like that either. That's my biggest flaw of the movie so far. The fact that they brought Billy Loomis back. It was cool for nostalgia purposes, but I did not need it. I thought it was very unnecessary, and I thought it kind of was, like I said, just a supernatural aspect that didn't need to be there. Yeah, so one thing about Jack Quaid's character, who is friends with, who's boyfriend who's Sam, is he's never seen any of the Stab movies. He's not familiar with it. Never seen any of them. Okay, I'll say it right now. Jack Quaid's character is the other killer. I didn't really think about it at first. I thought about it like later on down the movie. That one took me like halfway through the movie to figure out, admittedly. But so yeah, it was just kind of. He was nowhere to be found the whole time because Ghostface attacked Sam in the hospital when she was in there. It was really weird. Ghostface was very aggressive in this movie. Very, like, dude, he attacked Sam. And right after that, like the next scene, he attacked Tara, then he attacks Sam. Then a little later, he kills the first person. It's it's kind of fast paced. Like, I don't know. It got a little trigger happy, in my opinion, but. So yeah, Sam survives an encounter with Ghostface and all that. And Sam and Richie decide to go seek out Dewey to try to get like answers and help with what's going on. And it's cool because there's a lot of the Dewey scene is what it is. Like, he's watching Gail on TV. There's an ash box for Tatum's ashes, his sister who died in Scream. So there's a lot of nice little like, okay, nods to like past movies and stuff, but it was whatever. He's kind of grudgy and all that, but he was like, yeah, I'm not helping you guys. And then they basically just left, and then he ends up showing up, the grumpy old man who turns soft. We've seen it a million times. There's nothing crazy with that. So they ended up finally just meeting up with all their group of friends, and Dewey ends up joining them, and they meet up at Randy's sister's house. I can't think of her name, but Randy's sister was in Scream 3. And that's the mother of Chad and Mindy, or Mandy. I already forget her freaking name. I'm just gonna call them the twins. That's the mother of the twins, or the siblings. So they're all just kind of sitting around, and they're talking about, okay, who's the killer? Like, why would they be the killer? And it's funny because Dewey straight up says, he calls out Jack Quaid's character Richie. He's like, yeah, I think you're the killer. He's like, never trust the boyfriend. He's like, yeah, it was just pretty funny, and it was funny as hell. But it was cool because it was kind of like the passing of the torch. Like, it was like the information and all that, and Mandy, the sister, was very knowledgeable. She's kind of the new Randy. She's very self-aware of horror and the tactics and the ideas and all that, and how to survive and whatnot. So that was kind of cool, having a new Randy type of character, because Randy's probably my favorite character of the Scream movies. I'll tell you why, because this is the biggest reason. When I was really little, I've always loved movies, and I've always loved horror movies, so I used to want to be a guy who worked in a movie store. I know, great life aspiration as a little kid, but like, I was like, one of my things was like, oh, I want to work in a movie store, and I want to know all the movies to anything. Like, anytime anyone asks me anything, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's that from this year by them, and direct. I thought it was such a cool idea. Sorry to wipe my nose too. I have terrible allergies right now, just absolutely terrible. It's dead of winter, so I don't know what the heck I'm allergic to, but my eyes are just, I don't know if you can. Don't even look that red, but my eyes are pretty messed up too. Where was I? So yeah, they're in the house, just kind of discussing, the potential killer and all that. And then what happens next? I'm trying to think now. Honestly, I don't even remember the exact scene that follows that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Basically they just what's it called? This is a terrible review at this point. I apologize. Okay, I'm just gonna move on to what I remember. So kind of flash forward. This might be honestly the next scene. So flash forward. It shows the Sheriff Judy, which was Deputy Judy. Now she's Sheriff Judy. She's at her house. And she's just kind of hanging out and doing her thing in the kitchen, and then the door opens real slowly, and she thinks it's her son, and she goes investigating. The typical, okay, something happened, I'm gonna go investigate it, and it turns out to actually be her son. So it's a pointless scene, but it builds suspense. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that builds suspense. Anyway, she's like, oh, I'm gonna get some sushi. So she goes out to go get some food, and Wes goes into the shower and everything. Judy gets a call on her way to the store or the restaurant, and it's from Ghostface, and it's basically just like, hey, like, yeah, like, your son's gonna die. Like, have you ever seen Psycho? Like, Psycho, obviously the information's at the shower scene where the killer is, well, the actress is in the shower and the killer comes up, whatnot. But that they kind of missed an opportunity there, because that doesn't actually happen. That's not actually how he dies. So I was like, okay, I get good reference, but why reference it aside from just the fact of referencing it, But yeah, Wes kind of walks around the house and everything, and it's whatever. And at the same time, it's showing Judy come back to the house, and Judy's running to the front door, and Ghostface just messes her up broad daylight. I mean, just stabs the living hell out of her. I must say, there was some, I don't know if it was the most like brutal kills, I don't know, but it definitely showed a lot more of the stabbing and blood splattering, which and the blood looked real, or more real. So it was like, I guess you could say it was more brutal kill wise, but it was just weird. Like, it was brutal in some regards. So she dies, and then it cuts back to Wes inside. Wes ends up getting into a little altercation with Ghostface. He kind of fights him off for a second and reaches for a taser. He can't get it, and it's just it's unfortunate, but he's pinned against the wall, and Ghostface has the knife like this, and he's kind of just pushing the knife into him. What you do like that? Wait, what am I doing here? Like that, jeez, that was hard. You know what it was? I was looking at the camera trying to figure out a pose, just looking at my hands. That was weird. I just got the knife kind of pushed like this, and it goes into his neck right here, and just like goes like this. It goes in, and then it comes out the other side, and it's like, oh my god. And part of me was like, oh, you can survive that. Like, it's not that bad. And then I was like, oh no, that boy's dead. That boy's dead as hell. And yeah, he ended up dying. It was quite unfortunate. Yeah, I thought he would last a lot longer just due to the fact that he was a pretty big, well, I think he's a pretty big actor in modern day, but the fact that he was named Wes, you know, as a homage for Wes Craven, so I thought, okay, maybe they'll let him survive longer since he's kind of shouting out Wes Craven, right? Maybe they wouldn't kill off Wes Craven, but they did. Big shout out to the writer. I don't know if Kevin Williamson wrote this, but if he did, shout out. But definitely shout out to the directors. The directors of Ready or Not did this movie. Shout out to them. Man, so yeah. Basically, Gale Weathers comes back. Due to that, I did go to the bathroom right after Wes died. I was like, okay, this is a good time to go to the bathroom, so I ran back. And when I came back, Gale Weathers was in the scene talking to Dewey. So I was like, okay, Gale must have, because Dewey did call Sydney and Gale earlier in the movie. We texted Gale and called Sydney. So I'm assuming, like, okay, Gale just kind of read the text and was like, oh, I gotta get over there, because he told her that, like, Ghostface was back again. So, yeah, basically they end up having a party at, where is it? Where are they? Okay, well, let me say this. Tara is still in the hospital at this point, and Ghostface ends up attacking her in the hospital, kills a cop and all that. I mean, he's just going to town, like he's violating, and the reason like we kind of connect that is because Sam is at the crime scene of Wes's house, and and she sees all the cops, and she's like, who the hell is protecting my sister? So her and Richie zoom to the hospital, and so does no, I'm sorry, Dewey and Sam zoom to the hospital, and Richie also goes. I think he goes in a separate car. Is he in that scene? I'm trying to think now, knowing that he's the killer. I don't even know if he's in the scene at Wes's house. Because Ghostface attacks Tara at the hospital, and she's getting the ship, like, she's gonna die, and then Richie comes to, like, save the day. But, like, Ghostface attacks Richie, but Richie's like, oh yeah, like, Sam told me to come here, but I'm trying to think, like, did Sam ever tell him to go there? Because I really, my hair's a mess right now, by the way. It's like, I don't know what's going on with the front here. It's like, okay, I got a little mohawk. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. But, dude, I'm really thinking right now if Richie, like, purposely went there because he knew he was going to be attacked, or if because Sam actually told her to go. But regardless, so Richie gets a little cut on the arm, he gets hit into a door, you know, they sell it, you know, because that's not the ultimate plan. They don't want to kill them all right there, that's not the ultimate plan. So he kind of sells it and stuff. And then, what's it called? So then Sam's on the phone with Ghostface, and Ghostface is like, hey, you gotta choose between Richie and Tara. And she's like, oh, she's stalling for time. And then all of a sudden, the elevator opens, and Dewey's standing there with Sam, and he shoots Ghostface, and of course he freaking misses. Like, you're the sheriff, but you miss. Like, that got me mad. So Ghostface runs away. And, you know, Ghostface ends up coming back and fighting Dewey after, like, they're kind of leaving, and Dewey ends up shooting Ghostface, like, 3 times in the chest. But as you know, as Thanos said, you should have gone for the head. I'm actually going to pause real quick and just run to the bathroom. I'll be right back, guys. It'll be like nothing to you. I'll just be right back. Okay, we're back. So, yeah. So Dewey ends up shooting Ghostface 3 times in the chest. But you gotta aim for the freaking head, man. So they all run back to the elevator to get Tara, Sam, and Richie out of there. And Dewey he's like, oh, I gotta finish this. He's like, you always gotta aim for the head. Like, he's gotta get the headshot. So I'm like, hell yeah, Dewey, hell yeah, bro, get that headshot in. So he walks back and it's badass. He's reloading the gun and everything. He gets there, aiming the gun at her head, the head, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna kill her. His freaking phone goes off and it's Gale, and the killer jumps up and takes advantage of that. Stabs the hell out of him in the front and the back, rips the knife. Oh my god, it was brutal. There's blood everywhere. This freaking Dewey, man, freaking Dewey. It was absolutely insane. And Ghostface kind of reveals the fact that Amber reveals the fact that she has a bulletproof vest on. So I'm just like, oh my god, it's very unfortunate. Yeah, basically they decide that they're getting the hell out of there, and they see Gale and Sydney in the lobby of the hotel, and they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna flee, like we're getting out of town, and they're like, oh, trying to persuade him not to, and like, no, we're leaving. Sydney Prescott, of course, Sydney freaking Prescott, so she puts a tracker on the car, so Gale and them follow them, and they end up going into, I don't know where they're actually going. But Tara can't find her inhaler because Richie ends up taking it, so they have to go to the Amber's house. So they end up going to Amber's house because Amber's throwing a party and Amber has a backup inhaler. But it's like, why wouldn't you just turn around and go back to the hospital? It's like, I mean, I guess Ghostface is there, but they think Ghostface is dead. So it's like, I don't know. So they pull up to Amber's house and they have a party going on, which Scream movies have parties. I thought it was pretty funny. So they go in and everything, and basically Amber's like, oh, what the hell are you guys doing here, I don't know how on God's earth, like, at all, like, I have zero idea, like, movie magic, how Amber was able to not only get back to the party at her house before they got there, but was able to get back with no visible damage to her. Like, she was thrown through a glass shell. Like, I'm not here to nitpick the movie. Like, if I thought it was a bad movie, I would definitely do that. I thought it was a really good movie overall. There's just a lot of things that, like, she must have teleportation. I just don't get it. And even if she did get back, nobody noticed that she was gone for an extended amount of time. The party host was unattended or uncalled for an extended amount of time. Like, did Liv or Mandy or did none of the main characters in the group realize that she was gone? It's just a little weird. Anyways, they stroll back into her house and it ends up being the freaking house of Stu from Scream 1, which is perfection. Absolute perfection. So yeah, they're in the house and basically Amber's like, alright, everybody get the hell out of here. So there's only a few people left, and this is kind of like the third act, which a lot of people said they didn't like. I watched all the spoiler reviews. A lot of people said the third act was the weakest. I disagree. I thought it was fairly good. So basically, it's funny because Amber and Mindy go downstairs to get beer. Because Mindy or Mandy, the girl, they go downstairs to get beer in the basement. And my brother turns to me and he's like, yo, that's probably what happened with Tatum. I was like, yeah, that's probably a Tatum moment too. But Amber was going alone, so I was like, oh, I guess maybe Amber isn't the killer, because I knew someone was gonna die down there. And then Mindy was like, oh, I'll go with you, because it's a horror movie, we can't be alone. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see where this takes me. So they go down and they start having a real a real deep conversation. They're like, you should have come down here alone. And I was like, oh shit, she's gonna kill her. And then the other one's like, what if I'm the killer? And I was like, yo, what? They just had a back and forth interaction about kind of comparing sizes, if you will. Like, oh, I'm the killer. I'm thinking, obviously it's Amber the whole time, but no one dies down there. It's just a funny little moment. so basically everyone really left the house. Chad, I forgot to talk about Chad. This annoyed me too, because Chad was hooking up with his girlfriend Liv, and Liv was like, hey, let's go upstairs, because they wanted to get down and dirty. And he's like, oh no, like, there's a chance you're the killer, like, I can't take that chance of being alone with you. And she storms out, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good ass idea, actually. Never have sex in the movies, that's how stuff goes downhill. Then this freaking dude decides to walk outside and find Liv by himself. Liv texts him, like, her location, and it's in like the middle of like a tall area of grass, and he's just happily walking toward it. I'm like, bro, you're a walking contradiction. You literally just talked about how you wouldn't have intercourse because it would isolate you. Now you're willing to isolate yourself. Obviously, horror movies, characters make stupid mistakes, but when you're self-aware that you shouldn't make stupid mistakes and you still do, I'm like, what are you doing here? So Chad ends up getting the shit stabbed out of him. He survives though somehow. I just don't know how. Him, Tara, I don't know how these people survive the shit they survive. That's always been a reoccurring thing in Scream though. I mean, the characters have always gotten the living crap shot or stabbed out of them and survived. I mean, that's nothing new. So I'm not even mad about that. So, okay, how does this kind of take the turn? I don't know exactly how the movie takes the actual initial turn, but all of them are in the living room of Stu's house, together. Oh, I know how. So Mindy is watching, it's really funny, because if you remember the Scream movie, where Randy is in the living room of Stu's house, drunk, watching Halloween by himself, and he's like, oh, turn around, Jamie, turn around, he's right behind you. And of course, Ghostface is behind him in the movie. And this Mindy is laid on the couch watching a reenactment of a stab movie of Randy doing a reaction to Halloween. Okay, that sounded crazy. Okay, let me decompartmentalize that a little bit. Mindy is watching Stab, a movie, one of the Stab movies, and in the movie, it's a reenactment of Randy on the couch from Scream 1, commenting about the Halloween movie. Okay, that sounded better. She's also saying the same things that Randy is saying about Jamie Lee Curtis. Mindy is saying about Randy in the movie. Like, oh, turn around, he's right behind you. And then she's like, oh shit. And she turns around and Ghostface is right there. I started laughing. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, so she gets attacked. And then Ghostface kind of gets who is it? Is it Sydney or Sam? Someone comes in and like starts beating the crap out of Ghostface, and Ghostface kind of flees. Then everybody kind of comes in the living room, and everyone's like kind of pointing at each other, like, hey, like, you're the killer, no, you're the killer. And all of a sudden, bro, like, Amber she's like talking to Liv, and Liv says something, and she's like, Liv, you're not the killer, because I am. And just freaking pops her face off, and shoots right in the head, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, it was crazy. It was just out of nowhere. Like, I knew Amber was the killer, but it was so surreal. Everyone's freaking out. And then Jack Quaid's character, I keep calling him Jack Quaid, and then Richie is like, he does something dirty, man. Richie just, wait, does that happen? Hold on a second. I'm trying to think. That doesn't happen right away. I'm sorry. So Sam, okay, that happens. And then, yeah, that happens. And then, I don't know what actually happens, like, right after that, but everyone kind of runs away or something along those lines. And, Gail and Sydney pull up to the house, and, Amber comes out of the house, and she's limping. She's like, help me, the killer got me. And Sydney and Gail are like, what do you think? You think she's bullshitting? And they're like, yeah, she's bullshitting. And Amber's like, F it. There is an extreme amount of F-bombs in this movie. Like, they say the F word probably a dozen times. Like, it's actually kind of funny. And then Amber's like, F it. Pulls out a gun and shoots Gail in the stomach and shoots at Sydney. It's a difficult shootout. It's Sydney goes back into the house, and it's very nostalgic. You can tell it's nostalgic because it's Stu's house from back in the day, so you can tell that she's kind of going through like the memories of like what happened in that house. So it's kind of intense in that regard. But yeah, she's doing her thing and looking. She's like just looking through all the doors and shooting doors, like shooting things. And Ghostface calls her, and basically just like, like they're just dialogue. And Ghostface dialogues a lot in this movie. Like he has a lot of lines, or she, whatever. And she ends up finding Richie in a closet. She shoots through the closet door, and Richie's there, and he gets shot in the leg. And he's like, "Oh, you shot, man? What's this whole thing?" And then, and then Sydney and Amber end up kind of getting into it, and they both fly off a balcony. Like they fall off like a railing. They're kind of laying there lifelessly, and Richie's coming down the stairs. He's coming to go get the gun and everything, and like he ends up getting the gun, and it's this moment where you're like, oh, they got Amber, like that's it, it's over, and Sam's in the room, and then Richie turns on Sam, and it's like, oh shit. So it reveals that Richie's the second killer. They really kind of reenact Scream 1 in a way. Like it's a little weird. Like they really reenact it, like pretty, like not motive wise, but like not even like hurting each other. I guess they don't really reenact it. It's just very reminiscent. It gave me big Scream 1 ending vibes. So they're all in the kitchen. Aside from Tara, everyone but Tara was alive still. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, because Sydney, Gail, Amber, and Richie are in the kitchen. I don't know, that was so like hard for me to get out. They were in the kitchen just kind of hanging out. Well, not hanging out, like they were telling their motive and everything. I did not like their motive that much. Like the reason for, basically they were big fans of the Stab movies, and they thought they were just getting ridiculous, and the whole movie was kind of building up around the fact of the motive, like, oh yeah, like the fans are pissed off about sequels and just bad movie decisions and making and whatnot. They mentioned Rian Johnson and Star Wars, and so it's cool in that regard, because The Last Jedi is the worst piece of garbage ever made. So yeah, they do stuff like that. Then but yeah, their whole reason for motive is just because they're mad. Like they don't want to be famous. They don't want to have a movie. Like they just want a story that's gonna make a good Stab movie. Like they want to make all this just for a good Stab story. And I was like, that's freaking insane. Like that is, I don't think that's a good motive personally. Maybe if I hear someone explain it in a better way than how I interpreted it, I'll rethink it in a different perspective. But from my personal perspective right now, how I'm seeing it, that's not enough for me. I just yeah, for me that's not enough at all. But it's whatever. Yeah, and then I'm trying to think like what kind of. So they're in the kitchen, and they end up kind of fighting back against them. Amber and Richie get fought back against by Sydney and Sam. So it's pretty cool. It's this one part where they're fighting back, and basically a burner for the stove gets turned on, and Amber gets shot twice. Who shoots her? Is it Gail? Someone shoots her, and this is at the point where like they're kind of obviously in the end, like the good guys always tend to win in the Scream movie, so they kind of revolt against them. I'm kind of fuzzing out on the specifics of the actual actions taken. That's why I was kind of stalling right there. I was trying to piece it together, but I don't really recall it. Yeah, I don't really know. But they shoot Amber twice, and she gets fall back into the stove, and Tom gets shot. She gets lit on fire, and her whole body's on fire. Dude, it was brutal, and she's just laying on the floor screaming. It's intense, like it's intense. Then they end up just killing you know, obviously at the end of the Scream movies, they're like, oh, you know, they always come back for one last scare, and you think it's gonna be Richie, but Amber comes running out of the kitchen. She comes running out of the kitchen, and she's all burnt, and she looks like a combination of Two-Face from the Batman Dark Knight trilogy, or like Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. She looks like a combination of that, like not as bad, but like in the middle. And she's running out, and all of a sudden she gets shot from the side, and you're like, oh, what the hell was that? And I was like, okay, this is how naive I was. I really wanted Dewey to be alive. I thought it was Dewey. I thought Dewey came back. I was like, Dewey somehow survived, but no, it was Tara. Tara shot her. So that was cool. Yeah, man, it was a fairly good movie. I'll finish off the rest of it. So yeah, the rest of it's basically like, you know, the ambulances show up, the news reporters show up, all that. Chad survived, Mindy survived. Who else survived? So the survivors are Gail, Sydney, Sam, Tara, Chad, Mindy. I think that's it. I think that's all the survivors. Which is more than enough characters to make a Scream 6, and if they make a Scream 6, I'll definitely see it. You know, that'll be whatever, but if they choose to do something like that, yeah, it was. I guess overall, I was fairly pleased. Like on the ride home, I was raving about the movie. Like I loved it. You know, kind of letting it digest a little bit and expressing my vocal opinions on it. You know, hear myself talk about it. Some parts I'm not the biggest fan of, obviously the ones that I've mentioned, like the flaws in the movie I've stated. It's not a 10 out of 10. I do think it's top 3 Scream movies though. First viewing. I definitely put it above. Without a doubt, it's better than Scream 3. It might be better than Scream 2. I think it's better than Scream 2, to be honest with you. I'm a sucker for Scream 4. I think Scream 4 is the best sequel, and nothing beats Scream 1 for me, but yeah, I'd have to watch it a few more times. You know, like, don't take my word for it, like, ranking wise, because you can't really. People always like judging things off their first appearance, their first viewing of things. It's a good indication of what the movie is and if you actually enjoyed it or not. But like some things, you can't rank them in like order of a saga, like definitively off one viewing. You know, because let's use what's a good example here? I don't even know. Star Wars Episode 7. Loved it at first. Then I watched it a few more times and I was like, oh, this is literally just a recreation of Episode 4. Like, it's just. So, again, I'll watch it a few more times. When it comes out on DVD, I'll definitely buy it. Add to the collection. Yeah. Definitely recommend. Watch. Oh, if you've made it this far, I hope you've watched the movie. Because if not, I just spoiled the whole entire movie for you. But yeah, I definitely watch it again. I'm not gonna watch it in the movies again like I did Spider-Man. Like, I don't feel like I need to watch it twice in the movies. But like I said, I'll definitely buy it when it comes out on DVD and whatnot. Yeah, I was overall a pretty big fan. I think it would have made Wes Craven, you know, fairly content with the outcome of it. I think he'd be very content with it. One thing I said to my brother, I said, you know, and this is a bold statement, this movie kind of felt more like the original Scream than any of the sequels did for me. Like, it had that like feeling to it in some regards. Not the whole movie, definitely not the whole movie, but some pieces really made me feel like the whole third act had me really feel Scream 1 vibes. And there was some other parts here and there, but I can't really say I felt that with any of the other sequels. I love the sequels. I think they're great movies. I'm not the person who hates on sequels, because Empire Strikes Back was better than Episode 4. Terminator 2 was better. Godfather Father Part 2 was better. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sequels, you know. Friday the 13th Part 2 was better than Part 1, for me at least. I'm not a sequel hater in any regard. Hell, I think Revenge of the Sith's the best Star Wars movie, and that's the 6th movie. Come on, son. But, you know, yeah, definitely liked the movie. Very happy I watched it. Could be a great experience later on in life, you know. To just know anytime I think of that movie, I can think that, okay, I saw that with my little brother. You know, that's gonna be good. Yeah, we binge watched. We watched the first 2 Screams today, and we didn't have time to. I just planned out the time probably because we were gonna binge watch all 4, and I just planned it out poorly, but we were able to watch the first 2 in anticipation for this one, so that's better than nothing. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys thought of the movie in the comments. Anything you liked, disliked, whatever it is, you know, just feel free to comment, interact in any way. I'd appreciate it. Aside from this just being a review of the movie, I hope it relaxed you. I hope it entertained you. But you know, whatever you expect or hope to get from ASMR or YouTube videos, I hope that gave it to you. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you real soon. Video coming within the next day or 2, most likely tomorrow night. Yeah, most likely video tomorrow night. Like, most likely